Hello and welcome to Jim's Code Corner. Um, this is going to be my first video in my new series all about design patterns. So the reason I chose to move on to design patterns then from basic tutorials from how to do simple tasks was I believe if you know simple or good patterns, your code will look nicer. It'd be much easier to read, a lot more organized, a lot easier to maintain. Anyone can write code, but it's difficult to write good code. So one of the right ways you can learn to write good code is to know some good development patterns um, or design patterns. So what we're going to do is so each week I'm going to probably upload a new video describing another pattern. Um, if you want to see any, don't forget to leave any comments and I will put those at the top of my list. If I don't get any comments, I'll just continue creating them until I run out of patterns I can think of. So what we're going to do here is create our first one here, and I already created a little project here. It's a singleton. The singleton is good for things such as like factories um, or tools like Spring use them for their services. It's so if you only need a single instance of an object, the object doesn't change. So you're not maintaining it or you're not holding any values specific to that object. That's a perfect example of something we use for singleton. So we're going to go over a couple things here with singletons. There's a couple ways you can create them. So we'll go over those. So let's go ahead and I'm going to start by creating a class. And it's going to be my public static void main. And let's call this singleton test. We'll call it demo. We are doing a demo. Why not? So, okay, there's our main. Cool. So obviously the main ain't going to do much by itself. So let's go ahead and create another class. And this is actually going to be our singleton. Um, So we're going to call this guy Singleton. Pretty straightforward. Okay, so the Singleton, it's basically what it's going to do. It's going to create an instance of itself and then return it. And then the next time, if you try to create another object of object type Singleton, it's just going to return that same one. So it's not going to create a new instance. It's going to be a single instance of this object here. And that would be the point of the Singleton. So in order to do this, the simplest possible way you can do this is to private, make a private variable. We'll make it static, so it's accessible anywhere in the application. Singleton instance, and it's going to equal null. So it's not going to be instantiated at start. And this is one of the key things right here is I want to create a constructor, but I'm making the constructor private. So basically, you're not going to be allowed to use that new keyword. You'll have to use this next function we're going to write here in a second. So now we have a singleton constructor that is private, so cannot call that. And what is going to be public is a new function, which is going to be once again static. Spell static. It's going to return a singleton, or this singleton, this object here, and it's going to be called getInstance. And what instance is going to do, it's going to actually it's going to return this guy if it is populated. If it's not, it's going to create it, then return it. So I'll show you what that looks like. Pretty simple to do. So if instance is null, then we'll say instance equals a new singleton. So a new instance of our object. And then at the end of our function here, we'll return instance. Cool. So what this is going to do is like I mentioned, it's going to first do a check. Hey, is our instance instantiated? No? Okay, we'll create a new one. And then we will return that. Next time it comes through, is our instance instantiated? Well, yes, it is. Okay, let's return that. So that's all we're looking to do here. We're now going to test this guy out. We'll go back to our demo, our main here. Let's get rid of this stubbing here. And what we're going to do is going to write final singleton, and let's call it instance 1 equals singleton dot there's our instance function. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy this guy just to prove that it's not going to create another instance. So we're creating two. We should when you was using new keyword, you would get a completely different object address, if you will. And we'll show that. We'll just actually display that guy. So system dot out dot println, and we will do instance 1, and we'll do it also with instance 2. And what we're going to find is there'll be the actual exact same object. Let me go ahead and open up a terminal window here. Show view and terminal. Oh, yeah, push the button here. Local. Okay. Let's see. I'm trying to remember where I put this stuff. CD. I believe it's in. Let's do this here. Documents. New. Hey, guess what, guys? I was out to Washington. Workspace. There it is. STS. Let's clear that out. All right. And we'll go now into Singleton demo. That's what we're working in. CD source. All right. Now we'll actually compile our code. So Java C singleton.java, and we'll do singleton demo.java. Okay, it's now compiled. So what we'll do is we'll say Java single demo. And what we'll find is that we're going to get the same signature. And as you can see here, this 15db9742 is kind of, we'll say, at the address of the object. And you'll see it repeated twice. It did not create a new object. It just used the same one. Cool. Hey, there's our singleton. Very simple, right? So this is good, and it works in most cases. But we do run the issue for making a multi-threaded application. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to write something a little bit more thread safe. So let's create a new class here. And we'll call this, it's going to be a bad name, but TS, so Threadsafe Singleton. Okay, so the Threadsafe one is quite similar, in fact. So what we'll start off with doing is create a private static. And this time it's going to be volatile. I know, right? Wow, volatile. So basically we're going to be storing this Threadsafe singleton in main memory is what we're saying here. So it's going to read and write to main memory. Yeah, those TS singleton equals instance, same deal, equals null. And that volatile is important, so don't forget that. Private TS singleton, and once again another private constructor, and all the magic will happen once again in a function we call getInstance. Public static TS singleton getInstance. So this time what we're going to do is we're going to start off by making a variable called TS singleton, and we'll call it result, and we're going to equal that to instance. And the reason I do this is for performance. So if we were to reference instance over and over and over again, it's going all the way to main memory to get that variable because it's volatile. So by taking this guy and putting it in this variable here, we're going to save those trips to main memory, and we're just going to cache here in this variable. Save some time. Cool. So this one thing hasn't changed here. We're still going to check in. This time we're going to check result. Excuse me. See if it's null. And if it's not, well, regardless, we're just going to return result. Okay. So that part hasn't really changed. Now what has changed is the actual instantiation of the object. So to keep a thread safe, one thing we're going to do is we're going to synchronize between threads. So we're going to go ahead and say synchronized, and we're going to synchronize on the this class here. And then we're actually going to do another check. Actually, stand corrected here. We're going to do a result equals instance. Now, if result equals null. Ooh, that's definitely not how you do it. There we go. There we go. Okay. So yeah, IDE. So if result is null, then let's just go ahead and put a log here. System.out.println, and put a string in there. My first and only instance of TS Singleton. So this will kind of prove this. It's only being created one time, once again. Result equals a new TS Singleton. And then what we're going to do is going to now equal instance equal to result. So we're setting both of them. We're setting instance to a new this singleton here, and we're actually going to return this result as well. So this is where it's going to write to the main memory. Okay, so that's actually how we make a thread-safe singleton. We have to do that synchronization, and we work with the volatile so it works in main memory instead of being cached in the CPU. So let's go back to our demo, and we'll alter it to actually use that TS. And it's going to call TS that get instance. Okay, we'll save that off. We'll go back to our terminal. We'll recompile, but this time we'll actually we'll compile TS singleton. There we go. And we'll call demo once again, and you can still see that it's still got the same signature here. So it's really difficult to prove on the whole multi-thread, but just keep in mind about multi-threading. If you're making a multi-thread application here, you definitely want to account for that in your singletons. But either way, I mean, like I said, this simple version, it works in most cases. It's just definitely keep this in mind. It may be something you want to implement. But that's it for the singleton. It's very simple. If you want some more use cases, just let me know. I can create some videos with some more use cases for you. But that's it for singletons. So if you, like I said, if you have any suggestions for other patterns you want to see, or just comments on this video, please feel free to leave your comments below. I'll put a link to the code in the description, as I mentioned earlier. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, and don't forget to hit that like button. All right, guys, thank you very much.